Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're back with another one today. Marcus Rashford. It appears that the career of Marcus Rashford at Manchester United is finally coming to an end. And I'm saying finally because I think we have been seeing for some time now that his body language, the way he plays, the things that he's been doing, his behavior off the pitch and on the pitch has just not been good enough, guys. It's just not been good enough, and I think this time around, I think we've had a couple of seasons back where we've been flirting with this idea that Marcus Rashford could leave, he could leave and all that, but I feel like this time now, I think his career at Manchester United could be coming to an end. I think we've seen on the news lately that the club is putting him up for sale. Marcus Rashford is now surplus to requirements at Manchester United, and let's find out why. What went wrong with Marcus Rashford? I mean, from the player that came on in 2015-2016 under Louis van Gaal, scoring goals in big games, big moments, winning games for Manchester United, to the player that we have now in 2024. Something drastic has happened to him. I don't know what it is or what caused it, but it's just not been good enough from Marcus Rashford. Personally, I actually feel like he was overhyped, as is most of the English players in England, in the English Premier League. I think he was overhyped way too quick before he matured into the player that we see now. I think obviously when you play for Manchester United, you're always going to be overhyped. I think we've seen it in the past. Many players came to United and many players have failed because of being overhyped. And with Marcus Rashford being an academy product, I think, and the way that he burst into the scene, I think that's probably another thing of him being overhyped. And I think at the same time it also got into his head that he's the main man in this team, and I think that was a bad message from whoever in charge of it, whether it was the manager or ex-players, or just the message that got into him that he's now the star of the team. And I think he did more bad to him than good. And yeah, I think it's just, we could come into a time where it's best for both parties to just part ways, him going to wherever, even though he's going to have very limited opportunities, because there aren't many big clubs that are going to take Marcus at the moment. From the way he's been behaving, I mean, Real Madrid is not going to go for him. Bayern Munich is not going to go for him. Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, they're definitely not going to go for him. The best place for him might actually be Saudi Arabia, and I'm not sure if he's willing to go there, which I actually think he can, because he's not even featuring for the England national team, so he's not actually protecting any position there. So he might actually just go to Saudi Arabia, because it seems like he's all about the good life and making money or whatever. And I think they can tolerate him in England, because in Saudi Arabia, because all the other top 5 leagues, I don't think there's a manager that's willing to risk having Marcus Rashford and his antics in their club. I don't think he's worth that much for any top level team. And yeah, for the past 5 years or so, he's just been a hit and miss. I think his best season came in 2022-2023, where he scored over 30 goals. It was a very good game for him under Erik ten Hag, but even then, he still had disciplinary issues. There was a game against Wolves where he had to sit on the bench for the first half because apparently he missed the team meeting before the game. So this thing is not just something that's starting now with him being the way that he's acting. Just recently, after Ten Hag left, the new manager came onto the team. Marcus Rashford didn't get called to the national team for the international break. And instead of him being a professional, yes, we do get that the players also have life outside the football game, but for him as a player that is no longer featuring in the national team, a player that hasn't been playing well for the past 5 years or so, he actually decided to go to the USA to watch a basketball game while the new coach is actually in the team, trying to meet everybody, try to see what he can do before the Ipswich game, We actually had 2 days to meet the team, get a game plan, and play Ipswich Town over the weekend. And where was Marcus Rashford? In the USA, watching an NBA game. That's the professional in him and the things that we've been seeing from Marcus Rashford. That's the standard that has been set by these players in the club. So, and I think Jamie Carragher mentioned it over on Monday Night Football, where he said Marcus Rashford is a good player, but he's not a great player. He's a good player, and he actually said something that I don't usually agree with Jamie Carragher, but this time around I actually agree with him when he said we actually talk about Marcus Rashford way too much. He gets way too much attention that he actually needs. And I think that's the perks that comes with being a Manchester United forward and an academy product. But I think he's been overhyped way too much time. Benny McCarthy also had an interview recently where he said there's too many people in the Manchester United team that are all about pleasing Marcus Rashford. There's been 6 coaches that Marcus Rashford has played under, and many times we've seen from ex-soccer players, former managers, where they're saying the coach has to come into the team and get the best out of Marcus Rashford. But where have you ever seen it in other clubs where a manager has to come in and try to adjust himself to the players' needs? Because in many teams you'll see where a manager comes into the team, he gets given the money to spend to get the players that suit his system. But in this one, it's the opposite way. And I think for so long, many people in the club, including us fans, we've spent so much time worrying and fearing this thing of what if Marcus Rashford goes to another club and actually does better than what he's been doing at Manchester United. I think we've stuck so long with this idea that he may possibly go to PSG or Real Madrid or Barcelona or wherever and actually becomes a superstar that we thought he was going to be. But Marcus Rashford came to Manchester as an 18-year-old boy. He's now 27 years old. And we've still seen nothing from him. Apart from the 2022-2023 season where he scored over 30 goals, we've seen nothing from him. Last season alone, he played over 33 Premier League games. He's got 7 goals and 2 assists to his name. That was about it. All the other highlights from Marcus Rashford was his disciplinary issues, him missing up on team meetings, him calling in sick just because he spent 2 days partying in Ireland. That's all we've had from Marcus Rashford. And then now with the coach coming in on Sunday before the Man City game, he didn't even hide it. And that's what I respect about this new coach. He didn't even hide that Marcus Rashford was injured or anything else. He just said there are standards that need to be met. Off the pitch and on the pitch, you need to be a team player. And Marcus Rashford and Garnacho were not that over the weekend, and that's why they were not selected into the matchday squad on Sunday against Man City. And I actually like that. I admire that from the manager, because these are not his players. He came in and found all these players here. They are not his players. So he has no time to be babysitting all these players. He needs to be ruthless with these players. For so long, these players have been controlling managers, getting managers sacked. Now I think it's time for a manager to take control of this club. And I think from what we've seen with this guy, Ruben Amorim, he's not going to be taking any nonsense from these players. He's not going to be tolerating none of this. And then he actually said that there was nothing wrong with Rashford or Garnacho. They were not sick or anything. This was just a tactical move because there were standards that had to be met in practice, and these 2 players didn't meet those. And then just last night, there's an interview that comes from Marcus Rashford and this other journalist where he's actually saying that he's ready for a new challenge now. I mean, what kind of a challenge is this? I mean, what kind of challenges did he set for himself? Because logically, you need to pass your first challenges in order to get ready for the new ones. So how is he ready for the new challenges while he's been failing with this one here? Unless he had different challenges that he set for himself apart from winning titles with Manchester United or anything else. How is he ready for new challenges while he hasn't done anything for Manchester United in the past 5 years or so? And where have you ever seen a player release an interview just because he was not selected for one game? That's the prima donna that we have to deal with Marcus Rashford. And now again, even the coach had to come out today, and he's still actually saying, not putting Marcus Rashford under the bus, he actually still saying Manchester United need good players. They need good talent, and Marcus Rashford is a good talent. We need him, and he actually says he can help Marcus Rashford. But what does Marcus Rashford do? He goes to the journalist, he releases an interview saying that he's ready for a new challenge. As if we haven't seen already that Marcus Rashford's body language and his performances and everything that he doesn't want to be in the club. Now he has to come out and do this interview. Personally, for me, if it was up to me, he wouldn't be playing for Manchester United again. They would just sell him in January, but because of his high wages that he's on and the number of years that is still left on this contract, it's actually going to be a bit hard to get rid of him. Unless there's a crazy club in Saudi Arabia that wants to take him, then I think he can go. But as for his options, he's actually very limited. Apart from PSG, and I think PSG now, they've changed their policies now. They also want younger players. They want up-and-coming players. Real Madrid is not going to take him. Barcelona doesn't have the funds to take him. He's not going to go to any club in England apart from downgrading to Everton or Brentford or Fulham or wherever. And he's not going to be willing to cut down on his salary. So I think, to be honest, I think it's time for Marcus Rashford to leave the club now. I think we've seen enough of him. The fear of him becoming this superstar, I think that's gone. For a player that's 27 years old, overhyped as he has been overhyped, and he still can't even get into the national team, that's something wrong with him. You have Bukayo Saka in Arsenal, you have Phil Foden in Man City, you have Cole Palmer at Chelsea, you even have Eze at Crystal Palace. All these players are getting into the national team now. Why is Marcus Rashford not getting there? Something's not right with him. And I think an example needs to be made of these players, especially players like Marcus Rashford, who thinks they're entitled to everything at Manchester United. This team was the biggest club before he came into this team. It's still the biggest club in world football, along with Madrid and Barcelona. And even after Marcus Rashford is gone, this club will still be one of the biggest clubs in world football. Marcus Rashford didn't make this club. He's here because of what happened in the past. I mean, just on Sunday alone, I'm not sure if you guys know about this record. Manchester United has been playing for 87 years. Since 30th of October 1937, it's 87 years now, where they have played every match game with an academy product player in the matchday squad. And this past Sunday, that record was almost broken. Kobe might not have been in that team. Had Kobe Manu not being in that team, that record was going to be broken. An 87-year-old record lasting over 4,000 games was almost broken, not because the players were injured, but because they can't meet up the standards that are required from them to play. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. What went wrong with Marcus Rashford? Do you think he should go? Do you think he should stay? Do you think he should be getting any more chances? Personally, I think it's time for him to go. I think it's time for both parties to go their own ways, and let's just get a new team. Let's bring new energy into this club. Alright guys, let me know what you think on this. We'll see you on the next one.